Okay, this video is about why I moved my entire family and my business from California to Texas. Hey, my name is Taylor. I make these YouTube videos because I like to. More so because I love politics, I love guns, I love business, I love family, I love faith, and I'm trying to document all of it to hopefully give you guys some value and some insights along the way. I decided to move my entire family from California, where I'm from. That's where my family is. It's where I went to school. It's where I went to college. It's where I met my wife. All of my roots and connections and everything is in California, in San Diego. I moved to Texas, and I actually moved to Fort Worth. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any connections. There was not a church I knew about that we were gonna join. There was nobody we're coming to Texas for. It was literally mostly 100% driven by God. And I'm gonna discuss that last, but I wanna go into some of the practicals here first. So I wanna go over taxes, I wanna go over education, I wanna go over abortion, I wanna go over real estate, and then I wanna go over God calling us here. Okay, so let's talk about taxes and finance. So let's look at just the real estate piece first, okay? The average cost per square foot of real estate in California, the average is $425 a square foot. The average cost per square foot for real estate, and this is single family, in Texas is $179 a square foot. That's crazy. That's like a third. We sold a house in San Diego. It's about 1,350 square feet. Small house. Still a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. It's the first house I ever bought, so it was great for us and our family. But we started to outgrow it because we had 3 kids. We sold that house like crazy. We sold that house in San Diego for about $850. Okay, and then we bought our house in Texas, which is more like 4,000 square feet on half an acre with a pool and a spa. Like, total blessing, exactly what we wanted for $750. Isn't that nuts? I mean, that is bananas. Like, if you're trying to get into a house or just have a home, the cost of the house that you can get is so much cheaper. Now, the effective state tax rate in California for our income range was about 10%, right? So that's a lot of taxes that just go straight to California. And there's a lot of reasons why I don't want my taxes going to California versus like Texas, it's 0, right? Now, if we look at the average cost of living too, the average cost of living, so there's a cost of living index, which kind of looks at gas, real estate, rent, utilities, all that kind of groceries, all that kind of stuff. $45K in Texas versus $53K in California. I know that doesn't seem like much, but that's a 15% higher, right? It's 15% more expensive, and that's on average. And you have to realize we were in San Diego, okay? San Diego cost of living, way different, just like you wouldn't compare San Francisco to Bakersfield, okay? That's pretty significant. I have a business, a few businesses, but I moved my primary business, and the California corporate tax rate was 8%, and Texas has no corporate income tax. So yes, there's a gross receipts tax, and that operates a little bit differently, but there was just so many reasons financially to leave California and to come to Texas. Now, I want to talk about abortion because I am very passionate about it. I think it's one of the top 2 most evil things that happens in the world: abortion and human sex trafficking of children. Those are the 2 worst evils that still happens today. And guess what? A lot of that crap is happening in the United States right here at home, and it sickens me. It sickens me. But let's talk about abortion. California, the abortion laws are on demand. The technical term is it's based on viability in California, which just simply means, can this baby viably live outside of the womb, right, without help? And it's like, it's a baby. It can't survive on its own. Even a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old by itself, is it viable? No, it can't feed itself or like take care of itself. Like, it's total crap. So basically, abortion is on demand in California, which is gross because the state also is helping fund that. And so I just didn't want my taxes going to it because it was disgusting. Versus in Texas, it's a total ban. You want an abortion, you have to leave Texas, which I love. I celebrated Roe v. Wade. We still have more work to do. We still need a federal ban. We need abortion to end forever. But I love that Texas has a very strong stance on it. Let's go into education. Okay, so there's a lot of things around education. There's just a few things that I wanted to touch on why we left California. We're homeschooling, by the way. So we were homeschooling in California. We're still homeschooling now. We'll probably indefinitely homeschool. But if we do want to access the public school system or the school system, then we have more options here in Texas now. Because here in Texas, teachers are encouraged to carry firearms. And I don't care what you think about guns, whether they're evil or not. The reality is every mass shooting, every evil person with a gun has been stopped by another person with a gun. It's just reality. And it is a deterrent. It is a deterrent. Why would a criminal not just come into a police department and start shooting people, right? Like in Terminator. It's like, well, duh, because they're all trained and have a bunch of guns. You would die. Versus these cowards, they go to locations like schools because they know that it is an area that is not gunned. They know they're going into an area where no one can defend themselves. And so I love that teachers are being equipped and allowed to carry as a deterrent and then as a actual first response, because the reality is, even though the police that I love and I appreciate the work that they do, their response time is too long. Too many people can die with a mass shooter or a psychopath with a gun before they can get there. There's also been a huge ban, at least in our county, against all of this LGBTQI alphabet soup indoctrination around transgenderism and sexuality, trying to impose that on our children because they know that if they can educate and indoctrinate our children when they're young, that they can capture them. And that's why we're seeing from the generations a double every generation, the rate of identifying in LGBTQI religion, the identification doubles every generation. Okay, so baby boomers, it was 2%, Gen X, 4%, millennials, 10%, and then Gen Z, 20%. Well, Gen Alpha, if we're not careful, is gonna be like 40% people identifying like that. So there's a ban on that. There's a ban on the critical race theory. Like, I don't want my kids believing the lie that if you're white, you are inherently racist. Okay, that is stupid. And then even the regulation for at home. So like if you are going to homeschool, the regulation in California is you still had to submit certain curriculum and proficiency and different things to the state. In Texas, there's not regulated, right? You can do whatever you want, which I love, because education for centuries was up to the family and the church to bring education to society. And it wasn't until recently in the United States in like the 20s and 30s, I believe, that education became owned by the state. I like that there's less regulation. So that's the education piece. What about with real estate investing? Because I did want to be able to invest in real estate from the profits of business. And so California has a Tenant Protection Act where essentially you can't raise rent on tenants more than 10% within a 12-month period, which sounds nice, right? But the problem is real estate has gotten so expensive in California. The ability to raise rent has gone down, and so it's not a great place to buy real estate. Plus, COVID showed us that your tenants can just loiter and stay in their apartment and not pay you, for 12 to 24 months. If you're a business owner and you can't kick out people who are not paying you, you're screwed, right? When you own that real estate. Texas doesn't have that, right? Now, you have tenant lease agreements, and of course, good business practice. You want to, if you agree to a certain rent and here's what it is, great. And if you're gonna up it and you tell the tenant and they're not able to pay it, then they have plenty of time to go find another place they can afford. Being able to invest in real estate that is going to be profitable, Texas is better for that as well. Plus the land and real estate, it's so much cheaper, so the cap rates are much better, okay? So there were all of these reasons logically, but let me tell you, I was 100% submitted to God about where we're supposed to live, because as much as I didn't like California's laws, politics, regulations, like finance, how they're handling their money, there's still people there that need to be impacted positively, and there are people that need to lead the charge on the change. And I didn't know if I was supposed to be a part of that or not, and so I was still trying to be submitted to the Lord of like, should we stay? Should we stay? And for 2 years, he told us to stay. And so we stayed. And it wasn't until we got released, we just felt the Spirit strongly in Fort Worth in Texas. And it has been so fruitful obeying that word. We've met amazing people and friends, got connected to a great church, have made amazing business contacts, and there's a lot of opportunity here on all fronts. So for us and our family, it's been an amazing move and transition. If you're thinking about moving to Texas and you're coming from California, you're coming from Washington, like Chicago, Illinois, New York, whatever, you should come check it out. But let me just warn you, if you vote ideologically according to how these states are run, which hint, hint, you vote more left, you vote more on the Democratic ticket, better for you to stay, okay? And I know that sounds harsh or mean, but the reality is if that's the way you've been voting, you need to live in the place that you think is ideologically better. If those are the ways you want laws written, then you need to stay. Almost like you should enjoy the fruit of how you've been voting and deciding on things. Don't come to these other states, because honestly, that's why a lot of the locals in Texas or locals in Tennessee or the locals in Florida, that's why they're like, don't bring your blue ideology here. We want to keep it the way that it is. And so I think that's fair. If you are going to move to these states like Texas, I really believe that you should vote according to the way the state is running, because the reason you're going there is because it is more prosperous, is better opportunity. Now, if you've been relocated there for a job, like it wasn't your choice, then I can see how you're going to keep voting the way that you were. But if you have a choice, it makes no sense why you would keep voting that way from the state that is going down the toilet, and you would bring that ideology here, because it's like you're just going to make that state go down the toilet too. So there's my rant. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you got benefit from it, or maybe you didn't, maybe it's just me ranting the whole time, then that's great. I will catch you later.